Computer. Everything rolling. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League. My name's Suj.
And my name is James.
And James, who do we have with us today and why?
Well, you should have been buggering off on holiday, so I was getting a star guest on to replace you. One of the best guests on the FPL community and someone we've been wanting to collab with for a long time. And he also had the bonus, Suj, of being a West Ham fan and with a brain. We are joined by the brilliant mayor of FPL, utterly TC, start of Match of the Day, Sunday morning notes. It is Tom Campbell. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hi, James, mate. Yeah, I'm really well. And hi, Suj, as well. Thanks for the lovely introduction. It's nice to be described as having a brain. I haven't heard that for too long.
And a West Ham fan.
I normally
and not only that, you're a West Country boy as well, right?
That's right.
Because I spent 4 years of my life in Bath, so I know it well. So West Country and cider.
It's a rite of passage.
Can't go wrong, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you come to support West Ham, Tom?
So I'm from London, but moved to the West Country when I was 3.5, 4 years old because my dad moved for work. Grew up in Bristol and then studied in Cardiff and then back to Bristol. So I haven't lived in London for, 33 years. But that's the roots and stuck with it. So I do have an affinity with Bristol City now. I literally live stone's throw from the Ashton Gate. So, it's hard not to get completely swallowed up with the love for Bristol City living here, but West Ham's still the number one team to me.
All right, nice. They've been close on the edge a few times, Bristol City, haven't they?
They have, mate, yeah. And it's always baffling to me. Like, I can't get it clear in my head that they could be a Premier League team and I could see them on Match of the Day because the first game I watched was a 1-1 draw against Gillingham. When I was a small boy, and I've always thought of that in the old Division 2 that was, and I've always associated them with, a Division 2, maybe a Division 1 or Championship team. That's the level at which I think they're at, never having been in the Prem. But yeah, you're right. They got super close playoff final, and they're sort of right there again. They're in the mix for the playoffs again this season if it ever gets the chance to restart. So.
Yeah, they've done bits with the stadium and that, haven't they? So
stadium's looking great.
I mean, essentially, they are ready for it. I feel like they've been close for 10 plus years or so. Yeah. So that when they break in, they're probably ready to give it a half decent.
Yeah, Lansdowne's done a great job. He's a good chairman and he spent a lot of money on infrastructure. Stadium's looking terrific. Well, like when I had my first season ticket there, the Dolman stand was all wooden seats and what have you, and used to use them to generate the atmosphere, sort of using them as the clapping, what have you. It's a world apart from that now. So I think they are ready. It's just, I actually set a question to the FPL surgery guys who are doing a championship pod. I'm not sure if they've done it yet, to see whether or not the perception is that Bristol City are ready for the promotion to the Premier League, because they're one of the few teams who've never been there, so they've never had the parachute payments, and I don't know, it always feels like a step too far. But obviously,
I'm fascinated. I'm trying to rack my brain, Tom, on the nearest Premier League club to Bristol, because Somerset is nothing.
It's tough. Yeah,
would it be South Coast, Southampton?
So it depends on the time.
Nothing in Wales.
Well, Cardiff was when Cardiff were there.
Yeah,
that was good. Obviously Swansea as well. But you're right. Right now it's not great. Like Southampton's an hour and a half away. It's not too bad. Historically, it would always be easiest to get to Villa.
Even Swindon have gone.
Swindon were early doors, but up to Birmingham's easy from Bristol, and Villa were the team that I'd watch the most of because it was easiest to get to. And I used to actually be friends with the press officer there. He's moved jobs now, but that was kind of cool because he would be able to get me and a friend sort of tickets, and you'd be able to go into the press office there, and took my wife's younger brother there, and he was a kid in a sweet shop there, seeing all the stars and what have you. So yeah, Villa or Southampton. Reading was easy when they were in the league as well, just hop down the M4. But
it's still quite a journey, and
it's still a journey.
Bristol,
you're right.
City do make it into the Premier League in terms of a catchment area for to want Premier League football.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the big boys come into town.
Definitely.
Is there to build up that fan base.
Well, fingers crossed. And like I say, they were in the mix this season, but whether or not they get the chance to restart, we'll see.
Let's talk about this quiz, because you've been killing people with different rank 10 on on if it was FDR, it would be well above the 5. So, did you pick have you got a topic or a theme, or just free for all?
Yeah. So just to be clear to all of the listeners, like I have not shared any of this with either Suj or James, so they're hearing it for the first time right now. And I wanted to do something a bit more in recent memory, because seeing some of the tweets from some of the younger listeners to the account that James runs on Twitter, that some of the ones that you and I remember fondly, or the three of us remember, is just too long ago. So we've gone for the 2013-2014 season, and what I've done,
I'm in trouble here.
What I've done is I've just got some very brief points about the season to help you guys just frame it a little bit, and the listeners as well, because it's quite easy. These things get merged, don't they? So it's the season that Liverpool stacked it. It's when Suarez had that incredible season with Daniel Sturridge up front, and Steven Gerrard slipped, and Demba Ba scored at Anfield. Norwich, Fulham and Cardiff were the teams that got relegated, and Jack Wilshere scored that goal against Norwich. So the legit goal of the season, not the one that the Arsenal fans scuppered in the poll. I think it was the season after. And just from an FPL perspective, it was the season that Tom Fenley won FPL. So 3.2 million players played it in that season, which is kind of remarkable, isn't it? Like, what are we at now? Like 7, is it, James?
7.5. Yeah.
7.5. So not that long ago, and we're talking more than we've more than doubled the players since then, or the teams. And he won by a single point that season, averaged just over 69 points a game week. I know that you're always looking at your average points per game week, Suj, so that's what he was looking at. So I've got 20 questions. Some of them are, like, they do have 2 parts to them. So there are multiple points up for grabs, Suj, you'll be glad to know. And I can make a start if you want. We've got Premier League section, we've got FPL section, and
can I
some other
just add my memory of that season? I don't want to say too much because it might be in one of your questions or something. But the highlight of that season for me was Ledley King's testimonial. That was the best Spurs game of that season.
Yeah,
which tells you a lot about that Spurs season.
That's a good point. Yeah, I tell you one, that doesn't infringe on one of my questions, James, but I did have to completely redo the bloody domestic cup section because your FA Cup quiz from last week touched on the season a little bit, so I had to change that. Anyway, shall we make a start then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right. So starting off with the Premier League section. So question 1, 2 points up for grabs here. Which 2 goalkeepers shared the clean sheet record for the season? 1 point for each correct name.
So should we do my quiz? So
2
which
goalkeepers.
Let's clarify that again for us, Tom.
Yeah, go for it again. So this is all about Premier League. Which 2 goalkeepers shared the clean sheet record for the season? 1 point for each correct goalie name.
Oh my God.
The listeners can't see this, but this is like faces deep in thought. I'm loving it. It's great.
I didn't bring a pen and paper or anything.
All right, okay.
I'm trying to just work it on a Word document. I'm like, he was going for the title.
First mistake, schoolboy mistake.
Oh, that's brutal. Okay, go on.
Okay. Question 2. At the end of the season, again, this is all Premier League. At the end of the season, who were the 2 Spanish managers in charge of Premier League teams? 1 point for each manager.
My wife just brought me a pen and paper.
Oh, that's good.
Cheers, love. Thanks.
2 Spanish
managers in charge of Premier League clubs at the end of the 2013-2014 season.
Oh, no. At the end of this quiz, can you guys just have a chat for 10 minutes while I try and work shit out?
Oh, dear. Spaniards.
Oh, I'm in trouble here.
Long way to go, mate. Long way to go. Should we go to question 3?
Let's do it.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, question 3. Whose club captain was Argentinian? And for a bonus point, name the player. 2013-2014 Premier League season. Whose club captain was Argentinian? And for a bonus point, name the player.
I feel like the way you asked that question, it's like somebody that didn't play, even though he was club captain, He didn't play.
This is brutal.
Club captain, 2013-14. Argentinian. I mean, there's the obvious ones.
Yeah, who are they then?
Well,
don't say the name.
You can't help, Suj. Yeah.
There are obvious answers that are clearly wrong, is what I mean to say. There's Argentinian players that I could pick, but they're probably wrong.
We can come back to these. Shall I go to question
This
4?
is going to make the worst audio ever because we're going to spend hours just thinking about these. It's like how to do a quiz in 3 hours.
It's going to have to be some creative editing.
Yeah, just do it. Go on.
All right. So this is one for you, a multiple choice question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Love these. Yeah.
So who did Tony Pulis succeed, i.e. which permanent manager, when he took the reins at Crystal Palace in November 2013? Say that again. Who did Tony Pulis succeed, i.e. which permanent manager, when he took the reins at Crystal Palace in November 2013? Was it A, Ian Holloway, B, Neil Warnock, C, Alan Pardew, or D, Dougie Freedman? You want the options again, or are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
I think I'm all right with that one. I had someone in mind before you said the choices, so
cool.
I think I'm okay there.
Happy days.
Yep.
Okay, so question 5. Which team was on the receiving end of a 5-0 home loss in December that season, which was the record home loss for the 2013-2014 Premier League season? And there's a bonus question. Who was sent off for the home side? Do you want that again? No, look confident.
Yeah, I know this one.
You do, eh?
You confident, are you, James?
Yeah, I know it.
And the bonus question was who was sent off for the home side?
Got it.
Do you want a bit more time on that, Suj?
Nah. Let's keep it moving.
Rightio.
I never get these right anyway.
Right, so moving on to an FPL section now.
Oh, lovely.
Okay. So question 6. Which Swansea City player ended the season tied for the most number of goals scored from outside the box by all midfielders with 5 goals? Just say that again, a bit of a mouthful, that one. Which Swansea City player ended the season tied for the most number of goals scored from outside the box by midfielders with 5? And there is a bonus question.
Ooh.
Who was he tied with? And it's a Man City player. So we're looking for a Swansea City midfielder. Goals from outside the box.
2 in mind for that.
And then the bonus question is, who was he tied with?
I think I'm more confident about who he was tied with than the Swansea player.
So who was he tied with?
It's not the obvious one. Can't be.
Because you think Tom's going to be clever enough to try and trick us.
No, I'm telling you that the only person you've got in your mind, Suj, that is the incorrect answer.
Nah.
That's what I'm saying.
I've got 2 down. I've got 2 Swansea players down.
All right. And then have you got a question? Have you got an answer for the bonus question as well?
I have indeed. Yep. I have indeed.
Okay, so we've got another a multi sort of faceted part here. So you're going to like this one. 4 outfield players, I need to stress outfield players, each started all 38 league games that season. I'll name the clubs and you name the player. So it's 1 player from each team. Okay. So the first team is Cardiff City. Second team is Hull City. Third team is Crystal Palace. And the fourth team is West Ham United. So 1 outfield player from each of those teams, each started all 38 league games. And I'm looking for 1 player from each team, and there's a point on offer for each. James open-mouthed at that one.
I'm in trouble here, mate. I'm in big trouble.
Okay, we move on.
Yeah, we shall move on.
Okay, question 8. Which Southampton player got into double figures for assists that season? One of only 4 players in the whole league to manage it.
Double figures for assists. This is too old for my fave, James Ward-Prowse. Come on. Southampton player back in 2013-14.
That's right. Managed to get into double figures for assists. One of only 4 players to manage it that season.
I've got an answer for that one, which is better than a lot of the rest of these questions.
Okay, you good, Suj?
Yeah, apart from I just threw my pen.
Just let Suj
Got my pen
retract that
back.
pen.
Let's
Okay,
do
good.
it. Number 8.
So we've had number 8. That was number 8. Number 9.
How have I missed?
You missed one?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I've got that as number 8, mate. I've got the 2 goalkeepers as number 1. Spanish managers is number 2. Argentinian captain number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal Palace, who did he take over as number 4? 5-0.
Yeah.
Own win. The Swansea player as
number 6. Yeah.
And that was number 7.
Number 7 was the outfield players who've each started the 38 league games.
Yeah, and now this is number 8, right?
And then 8 was the Southampton player. That's right.
Sorry,
I think we're agreeing with each other.
We are indeed. I just didn't write down Southampton player.
Okay, cool. So question 9. Which Man City defender ended the season with 8 Premier League assists, the most of all defenders that season? So again, which Man City defender ended the season with 8 Premier League assists, the most of all defenders that season? I haven't seen anything being written down by Suj yet, so I'm going to give him another moment.
I think that's one of 2.
It's definitely 1 of 2, James.
Well, no, this could be one of about 8, actually. But...
Nah, I mean, getting that many assists.
Yeah, I think it could be someone a little bit dodgy, actually. I might gamble on that. Yeah,
more dodgy than Carl Walker after his antics this weekend.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Right, question 10. Lots of points on offer for this one. So
lovely.
Lots of points on offer. So question 10. 3 of the top 4 defenders in terms of goals scored during the 13-14 season each played for Merseyside teams. Name those 3 players. And then for a bonus question, which was the top scorer? So I'll say again, 3 of the top 4 defenders in terms of goals scored during the 2013-14 season each played for Merseyside teams. Name those 3 players. And for the bonus question, who top scored of those 3 players?
3 of the top 4 goal scoring
defenders each played for Merseyside teams.
Is that just to clarify, Tom, is that goals scored, not FPL points, or
goals scored, mate? Yeah, goals scored.
Yeah, cool.
So 3 of the top 4 goal scoring defenders that season each played for Merseyside teams. We're looking for 3 names, and then once you've selected your 3 names, tell me which of those was the top scoring defender. There's 4 points on offer. So just looking like wistfully into the distance on this one.
One comes to mind straight away, very quickly, very easily. It's the other 2 that are a bit trickier.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I've got an answer.
We've got 2 more questions on the FPL section. We good to go, James? On a bit longer.
Okay. Yeah, go.
Okay, question 11. So we'll all remember, I suspect, Wayne Rooney's incredible long-range lob goal over Adrian at Upton Park. I wonder if you were there for that one, Suj. But my question is, who got the assist for that goal? So I'm sure we've all seen the goal a million times.
I
saw it at the weekend.
Adrian.
I saw it at the weekend on YouTube on a Premier League, greatest goals ever.
Oh, there you go. So they cut.
Well, they didn't show the assist. They cut the crowd because obviously it's very similar to the goal that he scored, and he was sitting there with his flat cap on.
That's right.
They didn't show the assist.
I've got a name that came to me instantly, and I don't know why because it doesn't make sense.
All right, okay. I'm going to come back to that one if you want more time, Suj. But okay, last question of the FPL section, question 12. So probably no great surprise that Luis Suarez, 295, and Yaya Toure, 241, were the top point scorers of all players that season. But for 2 points, 1 per correct name, which other 2 midfielders each went over the 200-point mark for the season?
Midfielders, Tom, sorry.
Midfielders, mate. Yeah, that's right.
Over the 200-point mark, eh?
That's right. For the 2013-14 season, 2 other midfielders each went over the 200-point mark for the season.
Oh, my gosh, Tom.
And that concludes the FPL section.
Thank God.
So I do have a domestic cup section, but as I say, I had to change it a bit to move away from the FA Cup because of last week's quiz. But there is a question on the FA Cup. So question 13. So the defending FA Cup champions from the previous season were Wigan Athletic, and they made it all the way to the semi-finals in 2013-14. My question is, who was Wigan's manager for that semi-final? James's face. I wish the pod listeners could see the reaction to that question.
They'll be on YouTube, mate. Wigan manager.
Wigan manager for the semi-final in 2013-14.
I haven't got a clue. I have no idea.
I'm so enjoying James not be able to get this.
I haven't
normally
got a clue.
Kills me on the trivia and the knowledge is encyclopedia.
I haven't got a clue.
All right, pop a name down then. Okay.
I've got Wigan manager.
Well, I mean, it's technically right, I guess. All right, let's move on. So question 14, so sack off the FA Cup now. So in the League Cup, Man City were the winners, which was their third League Cup victory at that time. Mm-hmm. Which two players from Man City were the joint top scorers in the competition, each with 6 goals, 1 point for each name? I'll just say that again. Which two players from Man City in the League Cup were the joint top scorers in the competition, each with 6 goals, 1 point for each correct name?
It doesn't help that I don't remember what years which players played for which teams.
That's kind of important, I would
Like I've got 2 players down that I'm going to go with, but I don't even know if they were playing for Man.
Yeah, it could be right.
13-14.
I'm very confident I know one of them.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on. So last question of the domestic cup section. So Suj, you'll probably remember that Man City snuck into the final after just pipping the mighty West Ham 9-0 on aggregate.
Yes.
But my question is, who scored against Man City for Sunderland in that final? I'll say again, in the League Cup final in 2013-2014, who scored for Sunderland against Man City?
I think I know that one.
Good. You're good, Suj?
I mean, I've got an answer down. I'm not confident on that at all.
All right. Well, let's move it. See if you can get more confident in the Champions League section. So we've just got a couple of questions on the Champions League.
Hold on, this is before my time.
Excuse me. So question 16, Champions League section now. Which two players, both of whom have played in the Premier League, each made it to double figures for goals scored in the Champions League that season? 1 point per correct answer. So which two players, both of whom have played in the Prem, each made it to double figures for goals scored in the Champions League in 2013-14? 1 point per correct answer.
Does that mean they had left the Premier League, or?
I'm not sure I want to say.
Not necessarily. I'm trying to think who even...
So I'm just saying, in their careers, Suj, they've played in the Prem. It might have been like after this, it might have been before. But when you see the names, you'll be like, yeah, both of those guys have played in the Prem.
And they scored plenty in the Champions League, eh?
Yeah, that season, yeah. They both made it into double figures for goals scored in the Champions League.
Wow.
All right.
Got a couple of names down, Suj?
I've got one, and I'll think of another.
Okay, come back to that one then. So question 17. Which Englishman ended the Champions League as the tournament's top assist getter with 8 assists? So which Englishman ended the competition as the tournament's top assist getter with 8 Champions League assists?
I can't even remember what the English clubs did in it that year. I'm trying to work backwards from the final.
Tough one.
This was a really drunk year for me, Tom. Okay.
So last 3 questions, we're going back to the Prem.
Yeah.
So Question 18. Jose Mourinho lost his first Premier League home game in 78, I still can't believe that, 78 games as a manager, when which team beat Chelsea 2-1 at Stamford Bridge in April 2014? So Jose Mourinho lost his first Premier League home game in 78 games as a manager, when which team beat Chelsea 2-1 at Stamford Bridge in April 2014? And for a bonus point, who started in goal for Chelsea in that game? Looking like a confident James here this time.
Yeah, I've got this one.
I've got two answers down, but
there we go. We can move on quickly.
We can.
I definitely know the team 100%. I think I know the keeper as well.
So this is one for you then, James. Who was Spurs' top Premier League goal scorer that season?
I can tell you plenty of people that it wasn't.
Question 19. Who was Tottenham's top Premier League goal scorer in 2013-2014?
You're brutal, mate. You ain't coming back on.
Well, I tell you what, I did have a bonus question for this one, James. But I actually took it out because I thought it was too mean on Suj. It was too Spurs specific. I'll ask it at the end.
Yeah, when we go through the answers, Tom,
I'll add it in. You got a name, you guys, for that one?
I've got a name.
Yeah, it's dodged though.
Okay. And question 20, final one for the quiz is, what was special about Stoke City's 1-1 draw with Southampton in November of that season? Question 20, what was special about Stoke City's 1-1 draw with Southampton in November?
No idea.
And that concludes the quiz, gentlemen. So I make it a grand total of 35 points on offer.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
From the 20 questions.
I don't think I'll get 3.5 here, Tom. Well, actually, no, I'm pretty sure I've got 4.
You look pretty confident on some of them. So do you guys want any of them repeated? Any you want to revisit?
Yeah. All 20.
All 20? Want them all? Do you want me to reread them all? Or are there any that you want?
So,
James, you do yours, and I'll do mine.
First one was joint for clean sheets, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, 1 point for each goalie name.
Second was 2 Spanish managers.
At the end of the season, which 2 Spanish managers were in charge of Prem clubs?
At the end of the season. Why are you being cheeky like that, Tom? I can only think of one. Argentinian captain number 3, I haven't got a clue for.
That was number 3, yeah. And the bonus point was to name the player. Question 4 was the Tony Pulis. Who did he succeed at Palace?
Was number 3 which club?
So yeah, the first question was which club had an Argentinian club captain, Suj, and then the bonus.
Right, okay.
That's it. Bonus point to name the player.
Okay.
Okay. Question 4 was Tony Pulis. Who did he succeed at Palace when he took the reins in November? Question 5 was about the record home loss that season, 5-0 home loss in December. There was a bonus point if you could tell me who was sent off for the home side in that game. Any of the FPL questions wanting repeated?
You do 6 for us again. I haven't got any answers for number 7. What was 6?
6 was which Swansea City player ended the season tied for the most number of goals scored from outside of the box by midfielders with 5 goals. And the bonus question was, who was he tied with, Man City player?
Number 11, Man United assist. I've got down as a question.
Yeah, that was Wayne Rooney's long-range lob goal over Adrian at Upton Park.
Right, I got an answer for that.
Who got the assist? I think James wanted number 7 repeated as well. So 4 outfield players, each started all 38 league games that season. So I named the clubs, you named the player from those clubs, 1 player per club. So we had Cardiff City, Hull City, Crystal Palace and West Ham United. Each of those teams had 1 outfield player who started all 38 league games that season.
I can't remember anyone from that Cardiff team.
A very forgettable team.
The only thing I remember about them was them coming to Tottenham and singing "We're Cardiff City, we always play in blue." That was when they played in red, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Gosh. Any other questions? Repeated.
That Swansea one is haunting.
Wow, I've only got one answer for number 12, which was the midfielders over 200 points.
I've only got one for that as well.
But I mean, we'll have someone.
Okay, so it sounds like you've got at least
Nothing.
clarified all of the questions. Well, we'll see.
What was number 20 again? Remind me.
Number 20 was, what was special about Stoke City's 1-1 draw with Southampton in November? Cool. Right. Are we good?
Yes. Let's go through these answers because I think people have had enough time to listen to Rabbit and struggle. And
I need about half hour and I will get all of these.
Should we do a nice man's piss break, which ends up being a Google break? Come on, Tom.
Okay, question 1. So the question was, which 2 goalkeepers shared the clean sheet record for the season? 1 point for each correct name. Come to you first, Suj.
I've got down Jens Lehmann and Petr Cech.
And James?
I've got Cech and Hart.
Oh, you both pick up a point, so Petr Cech is correct. The other one you're looking for was actually Szczesny at Arsenal.
Wojciech.
Actually, remember that season, James, Arsenal spent the majority of it leading, especially in the early part.
I'm calling bullshit, and I don't remember anything Arsenal leading ever.
16 clean sheets for each of those guys, so well done, point each. The second question, at the end of the season, who were the 2 Spanish managers in charge of Premier League teams? 1 point for each manager. Let's come to you first, James.
I've got one answer, which is Roberto Martinez.
Yeah, and Suj?
I had Martinez down and I just crossed him down at the last minute. I've got Rafa Benitez and Carlos Queiroz.
So Martinez is correct. He was at Everton.
I shouldn't have crossed
the other
it
one, I would have been impressed if anyone got this one, is actually Pepe Mel at West Brom.
Oh, bloody hell,
Tough
Tom.
one. Tough one, that. Pick up a point, though, James. So the club captain. So question 3, whose club captain was Argentinian? And bonus point, name the player. Let's come to you, Suj.
I went to Man City and I put Pablo Zabaleta down.
And James?
I haven't got anything. I'll have a stab at just random one, as it was David Moyes first in charge, that maybe Rojo. But I can't think of anyone.
Okay. I think you'll kick yourself, actually, guys. It's Newcastle with Fabrizio Colocini. So that was question 3, another tough one. So question 4. Who did Tony Pulis succeed, i.e. which permanent manager when he took the reins at Crystal Palace in November 2013? Was it A, Ian Holloway, B, Neil Warnock, C, Alan Pardew, or D, Dougie Freedman? Let's come to, is it you, James, I think, coming first?
I'm very confident it's Ian Holloway.
And Suj?
I went with Dougie Freedman for no reason other than he played for Barnet.
It was Ian Holloway, James. Well done. Yeah, I chose managers all around that time, but Holloway left.
Chopped and changed a fair bit.
They did. After a long period of relative stability, they changed Holloway, who left with win ratio was 30%, and then Pulis came in, had a great record actually, 28 games, 12 wins, 5 draws, 11 defeats, win ratio of 43%, which is good going. But he left under some difficult circumstances. Anyway, well done, James. Question 5. So who was on the receiving end of a 5-0 home loss in December that season, the record home loss for 2013-14, and the bonus point was who was sent off? Suj?
I went with Man United. Was that the season that City spanked them? I can't remember. And I don't know if that was at the Etihad or Old Trafford, but I feel like City spanked them one season. I have no idea who could have been sent off.
Okay.
Go with Vidic.
And James?
In 30 years, Tom, I've missed 3 goals scored at White Hart Lane in that time, and this was one of those occasions because at 4-0 I couldn't take any more.
Never.
The answer is Tottenham. The player sent off was Paulinho.
Correct for 2 points, mate. Well done. He was sent off for a high kick on Luis Suarez.
Unfair advantage. Liverpool
won 5-0, and I'm telling you that Tottenham were lucky.
Yeah, they were a bit special that season, Liverpool, weren't they? Right, FPL section. So question 6, which Swansea City player ended the season tied for the most number of goals scored from outside the box by midfielders with 5? And the bonus question was, who was he tied with? A Man City player. I think it's to you this time, James.
I'm going to go with Shelvey, but I'm not happy with that.
Shelvey, and for the Man City player?
We'll go Yaya.
And Suj?
I went with Michu, but I couldn't remember if that was the season that Michu went mental. And then I went David Silva, but crossed him out and put Yaya. So
Yaya's correct. And so is John Joe Shelby. Well done, James.
Gets in.
I was sure that Siggy would trip you guys up.
Nah,
that was the one where
too
I was
obvious.
saying. Well, I knew it was at Spurs. That was the one
Yeah.
that I was saying. It can't be the obvious one. People be thinking Siggy. I knew it was at Spurs.
Yeah, I wonder if any of the listeners got tripped up with Siggy.
Yeah, too obvious.
So next one, question 7. This was the outfield players who each started 38 league games. So who did you have? Let's go with you for this one, Suj. Who did you have for Cardiff City?
I don't remember who played for Cardiff, mate. So that's a blank.
James, anything on Cardiff?
I went Morrison. I don't even know if he was there then.
Okay, Hull City, Suj.
Bullard.
James.
I went McShane.
Crystal Palace, Suj.
Blank.
James.
I went Jedinak.
And West Ham, Suj.
I went Winston Reid.
And James.
I have a recollection of Matt Jarvis having a silly amount of minutes one year, so I've gone for him.
Okay, so you were actually looking for Stephen Corker at Cardiff.
Oh, Tottenham reject.
El Mohammadi at Hull City. Jedinak is correct. That's a hell of a shout, that, James.
James.
That is a hell of a shout. And I'm disappointed neither of you got Mark Noble at West Ham.
I scribbled the fucker down because I thought it was too obvious. I just thought it's too obvious to go with Noble.
Mark Noble played every.
If I had a point for every
game.
answer that's correct that I scribbled out, I'd still be shit. But still,
All right.
2 points there.
Question. Still lots to play for, though, mate. Question 8.
Yeah.
Which Southampton player got into double figures for assists that season? One of only 4 players to manage the feat. James.
I went with Adam Lallana.
And Suj.
I've got Tadic down, but I don't even think he played for them back then.
It was actually Ricky Lambert who got 13 goals and 10 assists that season. Really good season for Ricky. Former Bristol Rovers man. So question 9. Which Man City defender ended the season with 8 Premier League assists, the most of all defenders that season? I think it's to you, Suj, for this one.
Zabaleta.
And James?
It was one of the 2 that I wrote down, but I've gone randomly for Di Michaelis.
It's actually Alexander Kolarov with 8. And
The
Zabaleta was
other
second.
bombing down.
Zabaleta was second, Suj, with 6. So it's close behind him. It's a good answer.
Trying to think who their flying wing back.
Yeah, Kolarov was a beast that season.
He really was, yeah.
The question 10, a bit of a mouthful this one. 3 of the top 4 defenders in terms of goals scored during the 13-14 season each played for Merseyside teams. Name those 3 players, 1 point per correct name, and for a bonus point, who's top scored of those 3. James, let's come to you for your 3 names, and which of those ones are you saying is the top scorer?
I've got 4 names written down, so just need to choose which one I'm scribbling out. I've got Leighton Baines for top, and I'm going to go for Enrique and Skirtle. Okay,
so we're going for Baines, Enrique, and Skirtle, with Baines top scorer. And Suj?
I've got Baines top, Hippier, and Skirtle.
Okay, so you've both done well. So the 3 names we're looking for was Baines, Skirtle, and Seamus Coleman. But we were actually looking for Martin Skirtle being the top scorer with 7. Seamus Coleman got 6, and Leighton Baines got 5. The other player who got 5 was actually Stephen Corker again. He's had a good goal-scoring season that season.
The name I crossed out was Glenn Johnson.
Yeah, I didn't feature in the goals scored, but yeah, I remember Coleman and I remember actually having a long debate with James Drury on the FPL Surgery podcast that season about which fullback was the better one to go with. It's weird what you remember, Coleman or Baines.
So we both get 2 there, did we?
You both get 2. Yeah, both get 2 there, mate. Yeah. So question 11, we all remember Rooney's incredible long-range lobbed goal over Adrian at Upton Park, but who got the assist? We're coming to you, Suj. Who did you pop down?
I just got Carrick down.
Carrick. And James?
I've got Chris Smalling in my head.
Okay, it was a tough one. It was Ashley Young.
Okay.
That one. Actually took me a while to find it, to find the right angle, but yeah, Ashley Young. Question 12. This is the question about points scored. So Luis Suarez, 295, and Yaya Toure, 241. Top point scorers of all players, but for 2 points, 1 per correct name, which 2 midfielders each went over the 200-point mark for the season? James, which 2 did you get?
I'm not happy with them, but I've gone David Silva and Mata. I'm sure is not right, but that's who I've gone with.
Okay. And Suj?
I've got Frank Lampard. Scored 20 goals a season all the time, didn't he? And David Silva.
Okay, you are actually both looking for Steven Gerrard, 205 points. And
Didn't he get minus 20 for slipping?
And Eden Hazard, 202. It was actually
Hazard.
Hazard, yeah.
Gerrard had a huge number of penalties, I remember, that year, I think.
He was playing like defensive centre mid, wasn't he? And just kept scoring penalties.
That's why I didn't go for him. But on reflection, I remember they had a load of penalties, Liverpool.
Yeah, over 200 points in is awesome any season. And actually, it noted as well, Aaron Ramsey was on track. He got 146 points from just 23 games. So he was right on track before injury.
That's like a Leroy Sané kind of stats, right? He always gets like a couple of seasons, got 140 points, and then points per game is just ridiculous. He just never played.
Wouldn't be a Planet FPL edition if Leroy Sané didn't get a mention, Suj.
No, of course. That's fair play. Can't wait till the season starts again. He's straight in the team.
Of course he is. Okay, domestic cup section. So question 13. Wigan were the defending champs. They made it all the way to the semi-finals in 13-14, but who was their manager? Suj, did you get a name?
Well, considering we found out that Roberto Martinez was at Everton at the time, that's the wrong answer.
Okay, and James?
I've just had a stab at Paulo Sousa, but I don't even know if he was even there.
This was a really tough question. It was actually Uwe Rosler, took over from Owen Coyle.
Uwe Rosler.
Mate, hearing the answer to that, I can't remember him being there.
He took over from Owen Coyle in December that season.
Owen Coyle would have been a good shout. A couple might have gone for that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Question 14. So, League Cup, Man City were the winners. Which two players from City were the joint top scorers in the competition, each with 6 goals, 1 point per correct name? Who'd you go for, James?
I'm pretty confident on Negredo, and I've gone for Dzeko as well.
And Suj?
Dzeko and Balotelli. I don't even remember if Balotelli was still there.
2 points, James. Well done. Excellent. Yeah, Negredo and Dzeko. So, Dzeko, excuse me. And you pick up a point as well, Suj. Neither of who scored in the final, but both who grabbed 6 goals. 2 good strikers. So, question 15. Man City snuck into the final after a 9-0 aggregate win over the mighty West Ham. Who scored against Man City for Sunderland in the final? So, we're coming to you, Suj.
Kevin Phillips.
And James?
Kevin Phillips.
Just wrote any old name down.
You're only out by about 15 years, mate. I've guessed, I think I'm right, Barini.
It is Fabio Barini. Gave the Maccabees a 1-0 lead. They went on to lose 3-1. Goals from Torre, Nasri and Jesus Navas. Give Man City a 3-1 final victory. Well done. So Champions League section, question 16. Which two players, both of whom have played in the Prem, each made it to double figures for goals scored in the Champions League? 1 point per correct answer. So this is to you, James.
I've gone Ronaldo and Bale.
And Suj?
I've gone Ronaldo and Crespo.
Okay, it was Ronaldo is correct for both of you. 17 Champions League goals that season.
Wow.
Remarkable. And it was Zlatan with 10.
Zlatan. I can't even remember what the English clubs did in it that year, Tom. I still can't remember.
Okay, so that's going to lead us nicely on to question 17. So which Englishman ended the competition as the tournament's top assist getter with 8 assists? It's to you, Suj.
I had nothing down, so I've just written down Lampard because...
And James?
I've written down Rooney.
And you are correct, sir.
Well done.
Man United were knocked out 4-2 by Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals.
Was that the Patrice Evra screamer that put them in front in Munich?
That Neuer went. It looked like Neuer was joined them to celebrate. If you watch that back,
yes,
really
that's
funny
correct.
The very same, mate. Yeah, great answer. Well done. So back to the Prem for the last three questions. So question 18. Jose Mourinho lost his first Premier League home game in 78 games as a manager when which team beat Chelsea 2-1 at Stamford Bridge in April 2014? And the bonus question was who started in goal for Chelsea in that game? James, you seem pretty confident. Let's hear your answers, mate.
I definitely know it's Sunderland. And the goalkeeper, I think, was Mark Schwarzer.
Suj?
I've gone with Arsenal, so I'm definitely wrong there. And I put Kudachini down. Okay.
James, again, 2 points. Phenomenal answers. Well done. We had Hilario was in goal, was on the bench, for Chelsea that game. Connor Wickham and again, Barini got Sunderland's goals after Eto'o had given Chelsea the lead. So question 19, this was the stitch-up one for you, James. Who was Spurs' top Premier League goal scorer that season? Actually going to come to you, Suj, first.
I've got Defoe down.
Jermaine Defoe and James shaking his head.
It's brutal. I've gone Adebayor.
It is Emmanuel Adebayor. 11 league goals.
What's remarkable about that is Adebayor basically didn't play till December.
Late in the season, that's right.
Sherwood came in. He did have a mad spell. I figured that Eriksson and Sigurdsson were probably still in single figures. Soldado couldn't hit a barn door.
I was saying, reading about Soldado when I was doing my prep for this quiz was hilarious, but he didn't feature. And question 20, last one. What was special about Stoke City's 1-1 draw with Southampton in November? Suj, did you get an answer?
I just put it snowed.
Okay. And James?
I think this is when Begovic scored very early for Stoke.
You are correct, sir. Begovic scored after 14 seconds. Right, James, I've got to try and trip you up. Who got the assist for that goal?
Shawcross.
No, it's a great answer, but it was actually Eric Peters.
Oh.
Well done, mate. You're bloody impressive answers. I thought that was a solid quiz.
Assist.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just whilst you guys totting up your scores, the bonus question I did have for 19, James, remember I mentioned, was who wore the number 24 shirt for Spurs in the 13-14 season?
24.
You can see, so just a wide-eyed look. So it explains why I didn't actually include that one, but that was one just for you.
There's got to be a reason why you've picked that. Who wore 24?
You can tweet me, mate, later at UtterlyTC for all that. And that's the quiz, gentlemen. So have we totted up the scores?
Yeah, I've got a fabulous, fantastic 6 out of 35, which is more
6.
James's. I've been doing like 1 out of 20, so I'm happy with 6 out of 35.
6. Well done, mate. And James ended really well as well. So some great answers. What are we looking at, mate?
Like 25, James?
Nah, 19 I've got.
9. I think that's a phenomenal effort, mate. Well done. There were some rock hard questions in that.
You ain't wrong, mate.
Yeah. But that's a good, really good. I'll be really interested to know if any of the listeners have beat on that.
And for all the listeners that are taking part and are going to quiz, as Tom just mentioned, at UtterlyTC. So as always with the quiz, once you've had a listen, the tweet is there on James's timeline. FPL pod, tagging in Tom. Make sure you do tag him. Do let us know your scores and how you did on this quiz. Obviously, a lot of effort has gone into planning those questions. And it's not even 20 straight questions. We've got multiple choice. We've got multiple answers. We've got bonus. Cannot say thank you enough.
My pleasure, man. I really enjoyed putting it together. I watched all of the Premier years, 2013-14, and there's not a word on that Wikipedia page that I haven't read now. So it was good. It was good crack putting it together, and hopefully the listeners enjoyed it too.
Yeah, we for the listeners that do listen and tweet in their scores, as always, don't take screenshots of your answers and stick them out because people don't want to spoilers and what have you. If and when Bristol City get in the Premier League, Tom, the correspondence job is ready and waiting. You just got.
I'll be only too happy to take that on.
Yeah, week in, week out.
All right, gentlemen. And
I thought he was an iron, but no wonder he's happy to dump him. I mean, come on.
Wow.
When it's a 2-minute walk to the stadium though. Oh, it's just too easy to. I need it to happen. Bristol City in the Prem would be remarkable. But can I just say, gents, as well, thanks ever so much for putting out all this content, especially, at the time when there's no football. It's genuinely so appreciated by all your listeners.
Thank you. Very kind of you to say.
And really, really important to keep it coming if you can. Thank you.
We will.
James.
Although I've just screwed up my quiz that I've done for the 13-14 season next week, so I'll have to think of something different now, haven't I?
It's not like you ain't got the time now, James. Tell the listeners what else they got to look forward to for the rest of this week.
Well, if you're listening on Wednesday, I'll be live on YouTube tonight around about 7:30 till 10 p.m. for the CM FPL Game Week 3 live. Thursday Throwback tomorrow is on England's failure not to reach, or England's failure to reach the USA 94. Graham Taylor, do I not like that? Defeats in Norway, Rotterdam and all that. I'll be streaming again Friday and probably Saturday as well.
Fantastic. So once again, thank you for everybody that's been tuning in. Do share the quiz with all your football playing friends. If you have got the hang of it now, why not make a night of it and play it all together or what have you. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the content, do whatever you got to do. But most importantly, stay safe during this time. We'll be back at you tomorrow. Ciao for now.
I can't think who wore 24. Thanks, Tom. Good luck, everybody. Cue music,
Cheers,
man,
guys.
child.
Bye.